For decades, we experienced little to no inflation. So when you got out of dental school, it was normal to sign up to be an in-network provider with several insurance companies. Sure, the reimbursement stayed pretty much the same year over year, but so did your costs, which meant you could grow your practice by adding new patients. And being listed as an in-network provider with PPOs and insurance companies meant more exposure and potential patients for your practice. But when labor and supply costs begin rising, especially as dramatically as they are nowadays, those set fee schedules become a burden, not a blessing. You could actually be losing money when you treat patients as an in-network provider on certain plans. Yet another reason that I'm constantly telling my dentist readers that they need to know their practice numbers. After that exam and cleaning, did you make $5 or did you lose $9? Opting out of one plan at a time. I recently visited a practice in Glendale, Arizona, whose dentist did a deep dive on what each PPO and insurance company paid for the most commonly performed dental procedures. That included regional variations within those companies, determining how much Delta Dental of California paid, for example, versus Delta Dental of Washington. Armed with that data, at the beginning of 2022, they decided to go out of network with Delta Dental. During the early months of the trial run, there was a tremendous burden on the treatment coordinator when it came to explaining the changes to patients. As a courtesy, the practice would still send a claim to the patient's insurance company, but the reimbursement would likely be mailed to the patient, who would then need to sign it over to the practice. And the reimbursement likely wouldn't cover 100% of the cost of treatment, so the patient would be responsible for any balance. The biggest thing to focus on is patient education and participation, the treatment coordinator told me. We had to tell them things like, your reimbursement is probably going to be a paper check, which will come in an old school envelope, so be on the lookout for it. Losses and gains. Now that's in the second half of the year, most of the practice patients are coming back for their second round of biannual cleanings. They've had the better part of a year to decide whether they wanted to stay at the practice, even if they had to pay more out of pocket, which means the practice now has numbers that track whether its decision led to a loss of patients. Before, about 30% of its patients were using Delta Dental plans. During the year, the practice lost an estimated 10% of those patients, which means 97% of its patients are still with the practice. And the gaps have largely already been filled with new patients who either use higher reimbursing PPOs or make use of the in-office dental plan, which brings more money to the practice than it was earning before. Going out of network does mean more follow-up work for your finance team. Calling and texting, payment reminders and checkups with patients, going over a list of various claims still due from the PPOs and insurers. You need a good support system, the treatment coordinator says. But that's well worth the effort when it comes to maximizing your practice profits. Should 2025 be the year in which you drop your least rewarding PPO relationship and see what happens? If you don't already have the numbers to help drive those decisions, start now during the final months of 2024 and get ready to make changes in the new year. Deciding whether to drop low-fee PPOs and focus on higher-paying patients can have a significant impact on a dental office's revenue and patient base. Here are some key considerations. Revenue impact. PPOs often require discounted rates that can lower profitability per patient. Shifting away from low-fee PPOs could increase average case revenue if the office can attract more fee-for-service or higher-paying patients. Patient retention. Dropping PPOs may result in losing some patients who rely on insurance to cover costs. It's essential to assess whether enough patients would be willing to stay without PPO coverage or if you can attract a new patient base willing to pay higher fees. Patient demographics. Consider the economic demographics of the area. In a more affluent area, patients may be more willing to pay out of pocket, making it easier to drop PPOs. In less affluent areas, it might be challenging to retain patients without insurance coverage. Marketing and patient education. Transitioning away from PPOs often requires stronger marketing and patient education. Explain the value of fee-for-service care and other benefits you offer, such as longer appointments, advanced treatments, or higher quality materials. Financial stability. If the practice relies heavily on PPO patients for cash flow, a sudden change could disrupt revenue. Gradually phasing out low-fee PPOs while building up a base of higher-paying patients may be a safer approach. Service quality and practice vision. Dropping low-fee PPOs can allow more time for higher quality, personalized care, often aligning with a practice focused on providing top-tier services and customer experiences. Ultimately, it's a balance between financial goals, the practice brand and patient expectations, and the local market needs. Some offices have found success transitioning away from PPOs, while others benefit from the steady patient flow PPO provides. I would love to hear your thoughts about the ideas and suggestions he mentions on this. Post your questions and comments below. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of Howard Speaks, please like, subscribe, and share. I read all of your comments and appreciate you and your support. So take care, be good, and create a rocking great day.